Hey everyone, Boom Shika here. I am so excited to be welcoming you to day 4 of learning. So what I've been doing for the past 2 days is talking about different books, The Power of Habit, and other books like that. Books that I've found really useful in my self-help, development world and my personal development. And so today's book is actually one of the epic books in my life. It's the book that caused me to make major changes in my life. And it's called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. He's absolutely a genius. The book is it's a really skinny book. It's not a lot of reading. But in those few pages, he's packed so much brilliant information that I'm so in awe of the book. I carry it around with me everywhere. It's one of my favorite books. It's just so powerful. And the words in there, and you're gonna read them, and you're gonna think it's not a lot, it's not fancy in any way or shape or form, but the message itself is so powerful. It just changed my life. So I wanted to kind of share my story of why I say that. So a few months ago, about like March 20th, March 19th, something like that, my friend Dan recommended this book to me, and he was recommended this book by a friend of his called Mary. And so I read this book on a Saturday, and I didn't expect much out of it. It was, not that I didn't expect anything. I was like, it's a book. I've read a lot of books. And I read this book, and I had tears in my eyes. It was not because it was a sad book in any shape or form. It wasn't a story form at all. But it was just so powerful, He talks a lot about resistance in the book, and I'll be speaking a lot more about that. But he says that there's one life that we have. There's a life that we live, that we're actually living, day to day. And there's an unlived, unfulfilled life that's inside of us, inside every one of us. And some of us actually have the courage to live that life that we want to live. Besides the fact that, there's everyone telling us not to live it, but we still go ahead and do it. But most people, 99% of the population, does not have the courage, or, whatever it might be. They don't live that life. And they die with the music still inside of them, as they say. And so he said that, this resistance thing, this thing that keeps us from living that dream, procrastination, all those are forms of resistance. When I read that book, I realized that I was resisting something in my life. I wanted to do something specific. I wanted to quit my job and start my own business. And I've been wanting to do that for a long time. It's not like I just came up with this idea all of a sudden. I've been wanting to do this for 10 years now. But I was too afraid, and I didn't believe in myself enough. I always had excuses. I had a billion excuses. I still have excuses. But with that book, I realized there are no excuses anymore. I needed to do this, and obviously my heart was telling me to go ahead. Everything around me was telling me to go ahead. There was no need to be resistant anymore because this is necessary for the evolution of my soul. He says that the more resistance you feel to something, the more that you feel you shouldn't be doing something or you feel scared of something, the more you need to do it. And that is how you can actually figure out what you're supposed to be doing in your life. Is if you're extremely nervous or scared of something, and I was extremely scared of being an entrepreneur. Like, that's something that brought so much fear in my heart that I was always afraid of it. I didn't believe in myself enough. I didn't think that I was entrepreneur material, I didn't believe I could make it on my own. So I always did the 9-to-5 thing. All of a sudden, I saw that this was necessary for me to do. If I failed, whatever, it happens. But at least I tried. And that is what the book taught me. And the next business day, I went in and quit the job. So I told my boss, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. And obviously everything in my life was kind of moving towards that, but this book caused me to do it in an instant. There was no doubt in my mind anymore that I had to do it, and it was because he said in the book that the more resistance you feel to something, the more fear you feel about something, the more you need to do it. And the more resistant I felt about being an entrepreneur, I felt so much resistance. I felt so much fear. I was so afraid of doing it, and that's why I knew that I had to. And that's the reason I love this book. I tell everyone who wants to become an entrepreneur or wants to do anything creative in their life, or just wants to live their life to the fullest, to read this book. Read the book. Do not dismiss it because it's a skinny, tiny book, or if it's, it doesn't have a lot of words in it. But every single word that he has chosen to be in the book is absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial. And I read this book at least once a month. I mean, I reread it all the time. I just pick it up and I'll read a random chapter. And it just, I just want to thank Steven Pressfield for creating such a beautiful work of art, such an inspiring work of, fiction, nonfiction, sorry, that is just changing people's lives. Another thing that he speaks a lot about that I found really interesting is that resistance, this resistance that we feel, this thing that we're not going to do something that we want to do in our hearts, but we're afraid to do it. He labels it resistance, which I think it's a brilliant term. But resistance comes in a wide variety of forms. It comes to us in the form of procrastination, which is a big one. We don't say that we're not going to do something. We just say that we're going to do it tomorrow, or not, or we're going to do it after the kids leave the house, or we're going to do it after I leave university, or we're going to do it after I get married. There's a lot of excuses you make. These are all procrastinations. Another way that resistance comes into your life is through sex and distractions. So every single time you're trying to distract yourself with drama, you're trying to distract yourself by getting into a really horrible relationship that you know is going to create a lot of resistance and drama in your life. Anytime you're trying to distract yourself with anything, a lot of us use sex to distract ourselves. That's just a really easy, instant gratification way to distract ourselves. You go in, you have an orgasm, and you're done. And you're distracting yourself, you feel good about yourself, and then you don't actually do any real work. The main thing that he always talks about is no matter what kind of form of distraction you're using, remember that it's all a distraction from what you need to do, which is sit down and do the work. No matter what you're doing, if you're a writer, you need to sit down and write the words. At least one word, at least 10 words a day, whatever it might be, whatever your schedule is about. If you're an entrepreneur, you have certain tasks you need to do every single day, but instead of doing those tasks, we clean the house, we organize our closet, we go hang out with our friends. We'll do all of these other things to distract ourselves, but we won't do those tasks that are important for our business because we're afraid. Self-sabotage, I've talked about that before. So every single person, every individual on this planet has certain stuff that he or she has to do based on their talents and abilities. This is the reason we're on this planet. We're brought on this planet for a specific reason. You are a unique human being and you have a certain skill that you're going to present to the world, but we're afraid. And you're going to resist it by distracting yourself. You're going to get into a relationship with a person that you know is just going to be a huge distraction. It's going to take up a lot of your time. It's just going to waste your time, so you don't get any work done. Or you're going to go get a tattoo and your parents know that they hate tattoos, so you can get into a fight with them. Again, a form of distraction. All of this stuff, sex, procrastination, distractions, unhealthy eating, alcohol, numbing techniques, using drugs or whatever it might be. All of these are ways that we get away from doing the work. Because the main thing every single day is, and at the end of the day, is that did you do the work or not? And if you did the work, then you can go to sleep knowing that yes, I did the work. If it was imperfect, it doesn't matter. At least I did the work. Because that's the most important thing. It does not matter what it looks like, what the quality is, as long as you do the work. They always say that it's better to finish something than to perfect something. And finished is better than perfect. And I totally agree with that. 80% is more than enough. So he says that every day you need to sit down and do the work, and every single night before you go to sleep, you're going to have that thought, did I do the work? And if I did, then yes, this has been a good day, and I can go to sleep without my conscience hurting. But if you did not do the work, then you're going to be restless. You're going to realize that you're not living your purpose on this planet. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel fear. You're going to feel all of these emotions that instead of actually looking at where they're coming from, you're going to go and distract yourself. I was in the same boat for the longest time. I knew that I was restless for a reason. I knew that I had to do something in my life and, use my talents to bring to the world and serve the world in my own unique way. But I was afraid. And I kept on doing all of these distraction things. Like I went to travel for years. I traveled, I got 9-to-5 jobs that weren't really using my talents, but they were paid really well. Things like that. There were so many relationships I got into which were absolutely useless for me. I get obsessed with men, like men who I think I'm in love with, but but I'm not really. It's just a form of distraction because I don't want to do the work because I'm afraid of it. Because as soon as you sit down and do the work, it means that there's a possibility of rejection. There's a possibility of failure. But the more I work on my stuff, the more I realize that there is no failure. It's only temporary defeat because I'm not going to fail. I'm going to keep at it until I'm a success. So how can there be any kind of failure? There is no failure. It's only temporary defeat. So I hope that this helps you. I mean, I love Stephen Pressfield. I love The War of Art. I love this book. I want you guys to go and grab it and read it as soon as possible. It's a life-changing book, and I really, really implore you guys to take this advice. If it's the only thing you get out of me is that reading this book, I think that would be more than enough. Again, my name is Boom Shikha, and if you guys want, you can join my free Facebook group, The Millionaire Hippie. If not, I'll talk to you guys the next time around. Tomorrow, I think we'll be speaking about the book The Rhythms of Life by Matthew Kelly. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.